าเสาอะไรเงี้ยไปเก็บเงินเราก็ไปตอนเช้าเลยมันก็ทำอะไรเสร็จบ้านพี่ธงไปเที่ยวอย่างเงี้ยในเดือนนี้นะก็จะได้ไม่เหี่ยวก็กลับบ้านนะมากินที่บ้านจะได้ไม่ใช่งบเกิน100เพราะถ้าตอนเช้าซื้อน้อยตอนเย็นได้มีโอกาสได้ใช้เงิน100เนี่ยเดินก็ประมาณชั่วโมงได้สั่งอะไรไหมถ้าหิวเดี๋ยวเชี่ยวถ้าหิวเดี๋ยวเชี่ยวออกค่าไกด์แมนเองจะได้ไม่ยันเวลาขับรถอีก1 ชั่วโมงเราเรียนรู้ได้ยังไม่ถูกใจเธอเพราะว่ามันเหมือนกันทุกวันนะดีนะร้านที่พาไม่เหมือนกันทุกวันเขาเปลี่ยนกับข้าวทำให้ลูกค้าไม่เบื่อ
ไม่ใช่เขาขายทั้งหมดแล้วหมด
ขนาดมา7:30อะนะกับข้าวเช้าหมดเร็วขนาดนั้นมาออกมาไกลก็7 โมงมันเอางี้ไหมคือว่าเราตื่นตั้งแต่ตี 4:30แล้วเราก็นั่งสมาธิเสร็จแต่ว่าเชียร์ออกเริ่มออกกำลังกายก็ตี 5ประมาณตี 5:50อะออกเราก็มาที่ห้องเลยเตรียมชุดเตรียมอะไรมาตลาดแต่พี่พาก็บางทียังไม่มาอันนี้เราเตรียมของไว้สำหรับทำอุปกรณ์ให้ทำอันนี้เนี่ยภารกิจเลยไม่ได้ออกมันไม่ได้จะหมดกันไม่งั้นเขากลับไปถ้ามาก่อนกลับไปก็ต้องไปออกกำลังกายไม่ได้มาทำภารกิจอะไรนี่ยังออกกำลังกายเสร็จก็มาตลาดแล้วก็ทำภารกิจทีเดียวไม่ย้อนไปย้อนมา
What if I told you that the key to success isn't about one big breakthrough, but rather the small daily habits that you build every single day? Imagine what your life could look like if you started each day with purpose, focus, and the right mindset to take on anything. Success isn't reserved for a lucky few. It's built through consistent action, and it starts with
ใส่ไปด้วยแล้วไอ้นี่แทรกเป็นไอ้เปิด YouTube ก็ได้ไม่ต้องใช้อีกเครื่องละเครื่องนี้ได้เลย
the habits you choose today. Are you ready to change the way you think, act, and grow? In this video, we'll dive into the daily habits that can brainwash you for success, shifting your mindset, boosting your productivity, and helping you stay on track no matter what life throws at you. This is about transforming your daily routine so that success becomes inevitable. Stick with me, and let's get started on creating the habits that will shape your future. Number 1, start every day with a focused and determined mindset. You wake up and already feel behind. You reach for your phone, scroll for a few minutes, and before you know it, your mind is filled with noise. You haven't even left your bed, and already the world has hijacked your focus. That's how most people start their day. Not with clarity, not with control, but with chaos. And that's exactly why their life stays the same. No direction, no discipline, no progress. If you want success, you need to take back control of your mornings. You need to condition your mind before the world gets a chance to shape it for you. You need to wake up and think like someone who's serious about changing everything. You don't need more time. You need better focus. You need real determination before the day begins. Not the fake kind where you tell yourself you'll try harder. No, the real kind. The kind that demands something from you. The kind that makes you uncomfortable. The kind that pulls you out of that lazy mindset you've let grow for too long. Starting your day with a focused and determined mindset isn't optional if you want to win. It's the price of admission for success. People love to talk about motivation. They wait for it to show up. But I'll tell you something, most people won't. Motivation isn't coming. You either build a mindset that produces results, or you stay trapped in the same loop you've been in for years. You want something different. You have to be something different. You don't get lucky by accident. You get lucky by showing up prepared. And preparation starts the moment you open your eyes. The people who win in life aren't smarter than you. They're just more prepared than you. They walk into every day like it's a test. And they refuse to show up unprepared. You want what they have, then stop waking up soft. Stop waking up empty. Stop waking up like your goals can wait. They can't. Start by asking yourself one hard question every morning. What am I committed to today? Not what you hope happens, not what you feel like doing, but what are you committed to? Because that's the question that reveals your real mindset. Most people are committed to staying the same. They just dress it up in better language. They say, I want to be successful, but their actions say, I want to be comfortable. And comfort has never produced anything worth remembering. I used to be like that. I used to wake up with no direction. I'd wait for life to push me before I pushed myself. And I paid for it with years of regret. But everything changed when I learned this truth. If I don't command my mind every morning, the world will command it for me. And the world doesn't care about your goals. The world will drown your focus in distractions. It will bury your discipline under excuses. It will feed your doubts and rob you of the energy you need to change. So I started waking up with a decision already made. I run my day or the day runs me. That became my rule. Not my wish, my rule. And I stuck to it like my life depended on it. Because it did. The truth is, your mindset shapes your life more than anything else. And if you don't set it intentionally every morning, it will be shaped for you by your fears, by your past, by people who don't care if you win or lose. So how do you start with a focused and determined mindset? You wake up early, before the noise, before the world starts talking, and you get still. You get clear. You get real about what today demands from you. Not what it allows, what it demands. You look in the mirror, and you don't lie to yourself. You don't hide behind your potential. You don't pretend your habits are harmless. You face yourself. You face your excuses. And you speak like someone who's tired of waiting for success to magically show up. You decide, what do I need to do today to move forward? Then you write it down. You don't trust it to memory. You don't leave it up to chance. You write it down so it becomes real, so you can see it, so you can't run from it. Then you read it out loud. You speak it like a command, because your words shape your focus. When you speak like someone who means it, your brain starts to believe it. You can't whisper your way to greatness. You need to speak like a person who's going somewhere. Then you move. You do something physical. You build momentum, because energy doesn't wait for you. You have to create it. You can't scroll your way into focus. You can't scroll your way into determination. You have to break the fog. You have to wake up the body so the mind can follow. And once your mind is clear and your body is alert, then and only then do you invite the world in. You check your phone after you check in with your purpose. You check in with your mission before you check in with anyone else, because your success is your responsibility, not your friends, not your bosses,
แต่ว่ามัน
not your
ไปด้วย
partners,
ได้ดี
yours. That's how you brainwash yourself for success, not by sitting around wishing.
โอเค อันนี้เอาชุดใส่ไว้เฮ้ยเกือบหลุดแล้วเกือบหลุดแล้วนี่ไง
ตัดหญ้าให้เกลียด
เอาเหรอดีนะไม่โดนทั้งโอ้ยเกือบหลุดแล้วโอ้โหดีนะใกล้หลุดแล้วเนี่ยดีนะไม่หลุดเขามาตัดหญ้าอ๋อท่อน้ำตัวนี้หลุดไม่เป็นไรเดี๋ยวเราใส่ง่ายๆอันนี้ได้ดีๆเขาก็ช่วยดูแลด้วยกล้องวงจรปิดยังอยู่ดีซิมยังอยู่ครบเที่ยงแป๊บนึงนะเอาผ้าใบก่อนได้ปะ
อย่าพึ่งเลย
อ๋อครับเดี๋ยวรีเซ็ตเครื่องหน่อยถ้าจะพูดก็พูดนะเราไม่ได้ใช้เสียง
แกลงมาแล้วตรงนี้ตรงนั้นมันไม่ชัด
เดี๋ยวรีเซ็ตแล้วเปิดใหม่ทุกอย่างเพราะว่าฝนมันตกไง
ใครที่อยากได้เสื้อสวยๆทุกคนเสื้อรุ่นนี้สวยมากใส่พอดีสวยไม่ทุกคนใส่ไม่ได้นะทุกคนผ้ายืดมากนี่อันนี้เป็นฟรีไซส์นะทุกคนฟรีไซส์นะจ๊ะมีสีให้เลือก9สีนะทุกคนจับตะกร้าเหลืองซ้ายมือเลยจ้าใส่สวยมากทุกคนพอดีสวยพอดีน่ารักไม่สั้นไม่ยาวนะทุกคนสวยมากรุ่นนี้จ้าราคาหลักสิบทุกคน1ตัวก็ส่งฟรีถ้าใครไม่ได้ส่งฟรีกด2ตัวนะจ๊ะสวยมากทุกคนสีแดงเราเป็นคนที่ชอบสีแดงนะทุกคน
มาท้ายๆ
อะไร
ท้ายๆนะสำเร็จไงถ้าทำคลิปสำเร็จแล้วก็ได้ไลฟ์สด
Wishing for it, not by watching another motivational video and doing nothing after, but by taking control of the one thing you always have power over, your mindset. Do it for a week, and your life will feel different. Do it for a month, and people will start noticing something's different about you. Do it for a year, and your entire life will look unrecognizable. But it starts with one morning, one choice, one mindset. You wake up and ask, am I ready to dominate this day, or am I going to drift through it like every other? Because drifting never made anyone successful. You need to grab the day by the collar and demand results. That kind of intensity, that kind of focus isn't common, but it is required. You can't build an uncommon life with a common mindset. You can't win by accident. The truth is, most people lose the day before it even starts. They lose it in the first hour. They lose it in their mind. Not because they're not capable, but because they don't have a process. They don't have a standard. And when you don't set a standard, life will give you the lowest one it can. So raise the standard. Raise your morning. Raise your expectations, not from other people, from yourself. The moment you wake up, your first responsibility is to own your thoughts. Don't wait to feel inspired. Inspire yourself through action. Don't wait for permission. Give yourself permission to win. Don't wait for proof. Create proof by living like someone who believes they can. If you want to change your life, don't start next week. Don't start next month. Start when it matters most. The moment you wake up. Because the truth is, your future doesn't start in the future. It starts the second you open your eyes and decide who you're going to be that day. Not who you were yesterday, who you decide to be today. So what's it going to be? Are you going to wake up like someone who's already defeated? Or are you going to wake up like someone who's done waiting? Success doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the focused, the determined, the people who wake up and take control of their life before the world gets a chance to. And the best part, you don't need anyone's approval. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need all the answers. You just need one thing, a decision. Decide to stop wasting your mornings. Decide to start building discipline instead of excuses. Decide to wake up and act like someone who's serious about winning. Because if you don't, nothing changes. Not your habits, not your results, not your future. But if you do, if you commit to starting every single day with focus and determination, everything changes. Your energy changes. Your confidence changes. Your ability to handle pressure changes. Your results change. And slowly but surely you become someone no one can ignore. Not because you talked about it, but because you lived it. So don't just wake up tomorrow. Wake up ready. Wake up clear. Wake up determined. Wake up focused. And build the life you know you were meant to live. Because success is not something you find. It's something you build. Every single morning. One mindset at a time. You don't have to fake happiness. This isn't about pretending everything's perfect. This is about building mental discipline. It's about choosing a mindset that supports your goals instead of destroying them. That means cutting out the voices that feed your negativity. Some of those voices might come from people you care about. Friends, family, co-workers. But if they're feeding your mind with fear and limitation, you need to create distance. You need to protect your mindset like your future depends on it. Because it does. This is your life. And you are responsible for the environment inside your own mind. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you think about it. You can choose to see problems as growth. You can choose to see delays as preparation. You can choose to see mistakes as teachers. That's how you build the mindset of someone who wins in the long run. When you start choosing positivity, it will feel awkward. It will feel fake. That's normal, because your brain has been rehearsing negative thoughts for years.
YouTube Premium คือ YouTube แบบไม่มีโฆษณาและมาพร้อมกับแอป YouTube Music สมัครสมาชิก1 ครั้ง
But keep going. Keep feeding your mind with better ideas. Read something empowering every day. Listen to something uplifting. Speak words of belief out loud, not just in your head. Train your brain to support you, not sabotage you. And when the negative thoughts come back, and they will, you don't panic. You don't shrink. You don't give them the wheel. You pause. You breathe. And you ask yourself, is this thought helping me move forward, or is it dragging me backward? You take a stand for your future. You stop agreeing with thoughts that destroy your power. You stop entertaining lies that keep you small. You stop believing that old voice that says, you can't, you can, you will, you must, because there is no breakthrough without a new belief. If you want to experience more in life, you must first believe it's possible, not in some vague way, but deeply, daily, repeatedly. The people who succeed long-term are not the ones who never had doubts. They're the ones who refuse to give their doubts the final say. They built their beliefs with discipline. They chose positivity like their life depended on it, and it did. Every time you choose a better thought, you're changing your brain. You're changing your patterns. You're changing the direction of your life. And over time, those little decisions stack up. They form a new identity, one that's strong, focused, and unstoppable. If you've been stuck, if you've been down, if you've been doubting yourself for far too long, this is where your comeback begins. Not when you get lucky, not when someone gives you a chance, but when you start choosing to think in a way that builds the person you want to become. The thoughts you allow will either open doors or keep them locked. They'll either lift your energy or drain your will. They'll either push you forward or trap you where you are. So choose carefully. Choose thoughts that remind you of your strength. Choose thoughts that focus on solutions, not problems. Choose thoughts that believe in your ability to grow, learn, and rise, no matter what life throws at you. Because when your mind is right, your life starts to move in the right direction. And when you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your entire future. Don't wait for confidence. Build it by how you think. Don't wait for a perfect day. Create a powerful mindset today. Don't wait for the world to cheer you on. Be your own source of strength. The change begins with a thought, and you get to choose it. Choose power. Choose progress. Choose positivity. Now go live like someone who finally understands that the most important voice in their life is their own. Make sure it's speaking the truth. Make sure it's building the future you deserve. Make sure it's loud enough to drown out every excuse. You've got the power. Use it. Start now. Number 2, take control of your thoughts by choosing positivity. You will never rise higher than the thoughts you choose to believe about yourself. That one truth, if taken seriously, can change everything in your life. Because no matter how many goals you set, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much effort you give, if your mind is filled with fear, doubt, negativity, and old voices telling you that you're not enough, you'll always sabotage your own success. Always. The war for success isn't out there. It's in here, in your mind. It's in the words you say to yourself when no one's watching. It's in the stories you repeat, even when deep down you know they're lies. It's in the way you choose to see the world, to interpret setbacks, to define yourself. And if you don't take control of those thoughts, if you don't choose positivity, you're handing over your life to patterns that were never meant to lead you. I've seen it too many times. Someone with all the talent, all the tools, all the knowledge, but they can't win. Why? Because they've built a mindset that's working against them. They've made negativity their default setting. They've trained their brain to expect the worst. And the human mind is powerful. It will always prove itself right. If you tell yourself you're unlucky, guess what? You'll see everywhere. If you tell yourself you can't change, you'll find proof every single day. If you tell yourself the world is against you, you'll start living like it is, and that becomes your reality. Not because it's true, but because it's familiar. Now think about that for a second. How much of your life right now is shaped by thoughts you didn't even choose? Thoughts that were passed down to you. Thoughts that came from people who gave up on their own dreams. Thoughts that were formed in moments of pain, embarrassment, or fear. Your brain is not your enemy, but it will become one if you don't lead it. That's why choosing positivity isn't about ignoring the negative. It's about taking your power back. It's about deciding that your future will no longer be ruled by the same broken beliefs that kept you small. This is where your life begins to shift. When you stop reacting and start choosing, you don't need anyone else's approval to start doing this. You don't need permission to start building a better mindset. You just need to decide that your thoughts are no longer allowed to bully you. You have to start filtering your mind the same way you filter your body. You wouldn't drink poison and expect to feel healthy, would you? But every time you feed your mind with toxic thoughts, thoughts of doubt, hate, blame, fear, you're doing just that. You're poisoning your potential. Success is not just about habits. It's about inner dialogue. You can work like a machine, grind day and night, chase every opportunity. But if your self-talk is destructive, if your beliefs are negative, if your thoughts are rooted in failure, you'll always collapse under the weight of your own mindset. This is where most people fall short. They chase results, but they don't fix their thinking. And that's like trying to win a race with the handbrake on. You don't need more speed. You need to release what's been slowing you down. So how do you take control of your thoughts? First, you become aware of them. That might sound simple, but most people don't even realize how often they're trashing themselves inside their own head. They've been doing it for so long it feels normal, but it's not. It's harmful. And until you call it out, it will run your life. You need to stop and ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind every day? What am I telling myself about who I am? About what I'm capable of? About what's possible for me? Are those thoughts building me or breaking me? Once you become aware of the negativity, you don't fight it with more negativity. You replace it. You replace every thought of failure with a decision to grow. You replace every thought of doubt with a belief that you can figure it out. You replace every thought of shame with the truth that your past does not define your worth. This isn't easy, but it is necessary. You're not going to wake up one day and automatically love yourself, believe in yourself, and think positively. No, that has to be trained. Just like your body, your mind needs consistent training, and that training starts with repetition. You need to speak the truth to yourself daily, even when you don't feel it yet. Especially when you don't feel it yet. You need to feed your brain with ideas, thoughts, and beliefs that pull you toward growth, that remind you of who you're becoming, that lift your energy and sharpen your focus. Number 3, commit to small daily actions that drive big progress. You don't need a miracle. You need a habit you won't quit on when no one's clapping. That's the truth most people ignore. They look for breakthroughs, big wins, overnight success stories. But what actually changes a life is doing the small, unglamorous things every single day that no one sees, that no one praises, that no one celebrates. Yet those are the very actions that separate winners from wishers. It's not about having a dream. It's about proving to yourself every day that you're serious about it. Most people fail, not because they lack the desire, but because they lack the discipline to stay consistent when results are invisible. They want change, but they don't want the quiet repetition it demands. They want momentum, but they avoid the stillness that growth requires. They want to feel powerful, but they refuse to do the daily work that actually builds power. That's the disconnect. Think about this.
What, in your eyes, as a CEO,
okay.
What could be, the key strengths
Okay.
that playing the biggest role
Yep.
in
You're not stuck because you don't have the right strategy. You're stuck because you keep waiting for motivation, for clarity, for the perfect moment to act, and it never comes. Meanwhile, your life passes by one silent excuse at a time, and you wonder why nothing's changing. Let me tell you something uncomfortable, but true. Massive progress doesn't come from massive action all at once. It comes from micro decisions that compound daily. It's the water you drink when you'd rather grab soda. It's the 10 pages you read instead of scrolling for dopamine. It's the walk you take when your mind tells you to stay in bed. It's showing up for yourself when no one's watching. That's what builds self-respect. That's what builds identity. That's what builds unstoppable momentum. You don't need a new plan. You need a new standard. A standard where you commit to doing what matters even when it's boring, even when it's inconvenient, even when no progress is visible. That's the kind of commitment that forges a new future. Progress isn't supposed to feel exciting all the time. Most of it feels like nothing is happening. You'll do the reps and see no difference. You'll wake up early and feel tired anyway. You'll make sacrifices and not get recognition. That's where most people give up, right before the momentum kicks in. They think it's not working, but what they don't realize is that and not get recognition. That's where most people all the time. Most of it feels like nothing is happening. You'll do the reps and see no difference. You'll wake up early and feel tired anyway. You'll make sacrifices and not get recognition. That's where most people give up, right before the momentum kicks in. They think it's not working, but what they don't realize is that change is invisible before it becomes undeniable. You're not just building results, you're building character. You're rewiring your mind. You're teaching yourself how to act in alignment with your goals, not your emotions. That's real power, not the hype, not the rush, the consistency. I want you to remember something. Discipline doesn't come from motivation. It comes from identity. You show up not because you feel like it, but because you've decided that this is who you are now. You take the action, not because it's easy, but because it's aligned with the person you're committed to becoming. You don't get fit in one workout. You don't master your craft in one deep work session. You don't heal your past in one journal entry. You don't build wealth in one good month. And you don't transform your life in one grand gesture. You build your future with daily effort, stacked in silence, compounded in time. That's why it's so dangerous to chase results instead of routines. If you're only driven by outcomes, you'll quit every time progress slows down. But if you're driven by who you want to be, you'll keep going, because it's no longer about getting something. It's about becoming someone. It's hard to see it while you're in it. You'll have days when everything feels pointless. Days when your mind tells you nothing's working. Days when you question if it's even worth it. But those are the days that matter most. Those are the days that separate the dreamers from the doers. If you can push through when it feels like nothing's happening, you'll be the one people call an overnight success, when in reality you've been quietly building behind closed doors for years. No one gets to skip the boring parts. No one becomes great without embracing the grind. The ones who win are the ones who fall in love with the process. They build systems. They create structure. They reduce friction. They show up even when no one's clapping. That's the hidden blueprint. You don't need to change everything at once. In fact, that's how most people fail. They try to do too much too fast. Burnout, disappointment, collapse. Then they start over, again and again, stuck in a loop of frustration. What if you just picked one thing, one small, clear action that moves you forward? One thing you can control, one thing that makes you proud, and you did it today. Then you did it again tomorrow, and the day after. Not because it's exciting, but because it's what builds your future. That's how empires are built, brick by brick, not explosion by explosion. Look at your life. What's one small action you've been avoiding? One habit you keep saying you'll start? One change you know you need to make, but you've been putting off because it seems too insignificant? That's the one you need to commit to. Not later, not next week. Now, because the truth is, you're not afraid of hard work. You're afraid of starting small and looking like nothing's changing. But that's where the real growth lives, in the repetition, in the patience, in the ability to keep showing up when it feels like no one sees you. You have to be willing to be unseen for a while. You have to be willing to be consistent without applause. You have to be willing to be misunderstood, doubted, underestimated, while you quietly build something unshakable. The world doesn't reward effort immediately, but it never forgets consistency. Over time, those small wins add up. They build trust within yourself. They build inner strength. They build resilience. And before you know it, you've become the kind of person you used to admire from afar. You want big progress? Then start small on purpose. Not as a stepping stone, but as a strategy. One that you control. One that creates momentum. One that builds a life you're proud of living. Don't look for the next breakthrough. Look at your next decision. That's where the power lives. In that moment when your brain says, skip it today, and you do it anyway. In that moment when it feels too small to matter, but you do it with intention. In that moment when no one notices your effort, but you choose to show up regardless. That's when you're rewriting your story. It's not going to be flashy. It's going to be quiet. It's going to be steady. It's going to test your patience. But if you stick with it, one day you'll wake up and realize you became someone you used to only dream about. And it started with one simple decision. I will not abandon the small actions. I will not chase the hype. I will not rely on motivation. I will build with discipline. I will rise with structure. I will prove to myself that I can trust my own effort. That's the mindset that transforms lives. No shortcuts, no magic tricks, just commitment. So what's it gonna be? Will you keep waiting for some breakthrough to change everything for you? Or will you become the kind of person who builds their breakthrough brick by brick, through daily actions, quiet effort, and relentless consistency? You already know the answer. Start now. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait for the right timing. Don't wait for a new year, a Monday, or a new month. Start with one action. Today, right now, and then don't stop. Because it's not about how fast you move. It's about how consistent you stay. The future belongs to those who show up daily. Become one of them. Be relentless in your habits. Be ruthless in your discipline. Be loyal to the vision you've committed to. And never again underestimate the power of doing something small on purpose, with consistency, and with a heart that refuses to quit. That's the path. Walk it, live it, own it now. Number 4, eliminate distractions and put your focus on what matters. If you don't control your focus, your future will be stolen by every meaningless distraction, begging for your attention. This is the truth most people won't say out loud. Your life is being quietly consumed, not by chaos, not by catastrophe, but by constant, subtle interruptions that seem harmless. But over time, they rob you of everything that matters. The scroll, the notifications, the endless noise, they're not just costing you minutes, they're costing you mastery. They're draining your potential. They're suffocating your greatness before it ever gets a chance to breathe. You're not failing because you're lazy. You're not stuck because you don't care. You're distracted. And that's a far more dangerous enemy. It's silent. It's seductive. It feels innocent, even productive sometimes. But it's killing your progress one click at a time. You keep reaching for your goals, but you never stay with them long enough to see them through, because your attention is hijacked before momentum ever builds. What's the cost of that? How many goals have you started but never finished? How many plans have you created but never executed? How many times have you told yourself you're going to change, only to find yourself, days later, back in the same loops, numbing your mind and avoiding the work? That's not a lack of ambition. That's what distraction does. It splits your mind, weakens your drive, and robs you of the deep focus that real transformation requires. It lures you into temporary comfort, while it quietly buries your potential under a mountain of things that don't matter. Let's be honest. You know what you should be doing. You know where your energy needs to go. You know the difference between meaningful work and empty motion. But knowing isn't enough. If your environment is built for distraction, your willpower will lose every time. And that's why this has to change.
Teenagers are building businesses with AI, while the only AI you know is ChatGPT.
Not later, not someday. Now you can't build a legendary life in a mind built for chaos. You can't rise above the noise if you live in it all day. You can't hear your own voice if you keep filling your head with everyone else's. If your phone is the first thing you grab and the last thing you see before sleep, your focus isn't yours. It belongs to the world. And as long as you give it away, your power will remain untapped. Discipline isn't just about doing hard things. It's about eliminating the soft ones that slowly destroy your strength. That means cutting out the excess. That means saying no to comfort disguised as entertainment. That means choosing depth over stimulation, silence over noise, presence over performance. The most successful people in the world aren't superhuman. They're just unbelievably focused. They protect their time like it's treasure. They protect their attention like it's oxygen. They don't try to do everything. They identify what matters most, and they make that the center of their day, every single day. What would your life look like if you lived that way? What would happen if you removed every meaningless notification, every unnecessary tab, every distraction that leads nowhere, and instead poured that energy into the few things that actually move your life forward? Imagine if the time you spent mindlessly scrolling was spent learning, building, creating, refining. Imagine if instead of checking your phone every 10 minutes, you had blocks of deep, focused, uninterrupted time, where your mind could finally think, finally build, finally align with your true mission. You'd change fast. You'd build faster. You'd develop the one thing that multiplies every area of your life: focused attention. Because focus isn't just about productivity. It's about power. When you channel your energy fully into one direction, you become unstoppable. You move from scattered to sharp. You go from reactive to deliberate. You stop living by accident and start living with precision. But to get there, you have to be ruthless with distraction. You can't flirt with focus. You can't sort of want it. You either choose clarity or you live in chaos. There is no in between. Look at your environment. What's pulling your attention away? What's draining your mental energy before the day even begins? What are you allowing in your space that doesn't serve your mission? Be honest. Most people don't want to face it because they're addicted to the very distractions that are destroying their progress. But you're not most people. You're here because some part of you is ready to reclaim your mind. You're here because you've felt what it's like to waste your own time and feel the regret afterward. You've seen yourself underperform. You've watched your own discipline slip, and you're tired of that cycle. So make a decision right now. Nothing will matter more than protecting your focus. Start with small changes. Turn off notifications. Block out your day. Designate time for deep work. Create a space where your brain knows it's time to perform. Remove the temptation before it robs you again. You don't need more time. You need fewer distractions. And more than anything, you need clarity. What is your real goal right now? Not the vague wish, not the maybe someday. The real one, the one that scares you, the one that matters, the one you keep pushing to the side. Because distractions are easier than discipline. Write it down. Make it specific. Make it urgent. Then design your life to serve that one thing. Anything that doesn't feed it is a distraction. Cut it. Every time you say yes to a distraction, you're saying no to your potential. Every time you choose comfort over progress, you're choosing regret over growth. Every time you pick your phone instead of your purpose, you're teaching yourself that entertainment matters more than evolution. You've got to break that pattern. Not by trying harder, but by designing better. Build systems that remove the need for constant self-control. Automate your discipline. Make your environment serve your goals. If you want to focus, build a world that supports focus. And here's the beautiful part. When you do this, your life simplifies. You'll feel less stressed, less scattered, more grounded, more alive, because deep focus brings peace. It brings meaning. It brings results. You'll stop chasing 10 things and actually master one. You'll stop reacting to life and start leading it. You'll feel control. Return to your hands, not because everything gets easier, but because you become stronger. So here's what I want you to do next. Take 1 hour, just one. Turn off your phone. Shut out the noise. Sit in silence. Ask yourself one question. What do I want my life to look like? 1 year from now, if I eliminate all distractions and focus only on what matters, let the answer guide your next action. Then repeat that process daily. Build a rhythm. Protect it. Defend it. Let it change you, because nothing will accelerate your progress faster than eliminating what slows you down. Nothing will sharpen your mind more than removing what dulls it. And nothing will rebuild your life faster than putting all your energy into what truly matters. You're not behind. You're just scattered. Bring your focus home. Protect your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. And when you do that, you won't need to chase success. It will find you. It will follow you, because you'll finally be showing up with full presence, full purpose, and full power. This is your moment. Not to do more, but to do what matters. Not to be busy,
ฝุ่นค่อนข้างเข้าเดี๋ยวต้องทำความสะอาดแสดงว่าพี่แชมป์น่าจะแบ่งเวลาให้ตัวเองออกกำลังกายมั้งเดี๋ยวต้องทำความสะอาดอันนี้อ๋อนี่ไงพี่แชมป์เขาแบ่งเวลาให้ตัวเองออกกำลังกายให้เธอ เดี๋ยวโอ้โห นี่แข็งแรงมากอะทำไมอ่ะเอาเฮ้ย ขามันเป็นอะไรก็ไม่รู้ ขาแมว เหมือนโดนรถชนมา ดีนะยังมีชีวิตรอดอยู่ได้เธอ ตัวเนี้ย ขามันไอ้นี่ พิการไปแล้วข้างหนึ่งตัวเนี้ยแมวแมวโอ้โหยุงตรงนี้โคตรเยอะอ่ะเธอ